Welcome to this TIPCHECK tutorial. In this video, I'll guide you through the summary and its functionalities. So let's begin, and we choose one of the projects which I prepared here. Let's take the TIPCHECK tool tutorial. We click on the actions button, opening the menu, and the first is add a component, because this is most likely what you most often do, and the second most important is going to the project summary. When we go to the summary, it uploads, of course, all the information. And the first thing I want to put your attention to is that I have the option above the summary here to untick boxes, and you can see what happens like this. And this is only for the screen and yourself. If you work on it and you want to focus on specifically just the energy consumption, you can get rid of the other figures, which makes the table much easier for you to look at and to analyze. This has no consequences for the TIPCHECK report. In the TIPCHECK report itself, we always print all three: the kilowatt hours, the CO2 emissions, and the money. So that is functionality number one. On the right-hand side, but everybody can see that, you see the total results for the chosen energy class and for all the components which you were using. In the right of the table, you see if you indicated that there's a safety issue or maintenance or other. Just scrolling down, you see I have some damaged cladding, missing cladding, so real maintenance projects. And then we also have some safety issues here whenever the temperature is too hot, or here ice on pipe. We put some other remarks, and this is clearly indicated in the summary. The next thing I want to put your focus on is that we have these boxes here. If I tick, for example, the first three, and then I print the report, only those three components will be printed to the report. To save time, I prepared a report where I did exactly this. So when we go through the report, you will see the general result will be printed like always. So we have the total result and all the information given. But then when we go to the summary, we see that there are only three components displayed. And here, this is really important that you notice. We have those three components with the individual figures, but in the total project, we of course show the figures of the total project with all components which have been investigated. So maybe the easiest is to look at the CO2 tons. 128 plus 34 plus 2,94 is definitely not 796. So that may be a bit confusing for yourself or for your client if it's not explained. The idea here is that maybe one or the other client is a bit delicate. If you give him the whole report with the nice pictures and he knows exactly all the components and where to find them, and that could give him an idea that it's not necessarily you to do the job. If you want to avoid that, this is a functionality with the restrictions, or at least with the attention you need to pay for it. You can just give him an example. On the other hand, to make it more positive, many clients don't want to look at 150 components. So when we talk about a number of 150, it does make sense to maybe show him the 10 or 15 most important ones. So in that case, it's also a very good functionality that you do a selection. But again, in the total project, you of course see the figures of the total project, as it's said here, but it's good to take note. And then the same thing is with the different component pages. So if I selected three, the report will also print only those three and not the 16 which we have in the report. Okay, so this is what happens if I select components here. If I don't do anything, by default, all components will be printed to the report. Then we have this menu here, the hamburger, and you click on it. You either modify, so if I click on modify, I jump to this component page. And for example, I wanted to adjust, let's say the wind speed is not 2. I was told to calculate this component 0.5, and I can save it. And then I go back to my summary. In this menu here, you are coming from down. So it's also at the second level, but coming from the bottom of the page. I go back and I'm into the summary again, and I click on the menu again. Here I can print, and it will print only this first component. So let's have it printed. You can also print individual component pages on the component side. So on the page where you are at the component, I will show you in a minute where to click. So going back here, if you click on the name as before, or as with modify, you go directly to this component. You can click on safety, and actually here you also have the option to print the component, and it will do exactly the same as before. So let's click on project summary again, and let's go further down in this menu. So modify is explained, print is explained, copy explains itself. So I copy the pipe number 1, and it will be added to the end of the summary table. And here I have exactly the same pipe, but let's say the only modification I want to do, either I click just on the name, or I use the menu and click on modify. I can say this is not pipe 1, this is, and copy, this is pipe 17, but let's say the medium temperature here in this pipe is 500 degrees, just for fun. Okay, and I have saved this, and I can go back to the project summary. And like this, it's very easy. When we use the copy function, the component is always put at the end of the table. So the copy function could be if at some point you want to change the order, but it's not very easy to do this. You could think of, for example, if this missing cladding and insulation number 12 should be at a different location, you can copy it and then delete it here. This takes me to the point deleting. So if I want to delete a component from the summary because that was actually rubbish, it's not 500 degrees and that was misinformation, I click again here, I click on delete, and I'm asked once more, do you really want to delete the selected item? And big surprise, I have 6 components as before, and this copied component was deleted. So this is all what you need to know about the summary. Before I end, I want to take a little explanation here to the menu. So going from the bottom down, what we most often do when we work in the summary is we close the project and we go home, or to the home page, sorry. We go home is also not that. Second thing here is we export this to Excel. I will show this in an extra tutorial how to do this, and then how to take this Excel and import it to the TIPCHECK calculator. Or not to forget to make your backup for the project file that you don't lose it. Or you go to the project report. You can also go to the upload pictures, also part of a tutorial, project properties, and add a component. So in our case, now we are finished for today. And how to export to Excel, how to design your project report is part of different tutorials. If you have any questions, then please don't hesitate to get in touch with us. Thank you for watching.